Well, hello. It's just a few minutes past 11:11, and boy, do I need a little stretching and strengthening and letting go of stress. So that's what I'm here to do. I invite you to join me if you feel like it, to whatever degree feels good in your body. I encourage you to explore that, listen to that, try to be mindful of yourself and let that override anything that anyone else is saying to you, including me. Want to remind you, there's not one way, there's not one right way or one wrong way to check in with your alignment to keep yourself fit and free. And I encourage you to explore different ways and see what works for you. Wow, what's working for me lately, as best as I can manage, is daily checks, at least a couple times a day, a little just loosening things up, a little just swinging the arms sometimes, checking in with the alignment. Some deep breathing and some heavy sighing. So that's what I'm gonna do. Starting off with just a little free arm swinging. Get things moving a little. I think I'm going to do just a couple deep breaths, trying to expand the diaphragm. So I'm going to first root my feet under my hips. Check that the hips are under the shoulders. Check that the shoulders are under the ears, which usually requires a little of this double chinning action. Get things kind of in more or less of a upright condition. It's amazing how many times we do all sorts of these things that are not upright conditions. So that's a good start. And then I'm going to be breathing in, and you might see me tempted to lift my shoulders on the breath up, which is what a lot of us do, and that does lift the rib cage and make a little more room in the lungs. But actually, the more effective way to make room in the lungs and bring in oxygen is to drop the diaphragm, and that actually requires relaxing the belly usually. So sometimes I will deliberately kind of push my belly out. That drops the diaphragm and increases the lung capacity by quite a bit. And then on the exhale, I'm going to be bringing that diaphragm up as best I can. It's a work in progress to kind of squeeze the air out. So I'm going to do a couple rounds of that. I welcome you, invite you to join me if you like. I'm going to turn this way, and I'm going to root my feet under my hips. I'm going to get the legs involved just a little bit, and just casually do some breathing in and out. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to be focusing on my lungs as sort of like a ball here, where I can fill that ball with energy, love, light, oxygen, and then squeezing that out. Let's try a couple rounds with the hands right here. So again, I'm kind of pushing my belly out on the inhale to make room. And I'm going to add the arms. Feel that limitation in my body. I don't know if you can hear that or sense that, but for me, part of the goal of all this alignment and body check-in is just that, to check in, not to judge, but to notice. So I encourage you to notice in your own body. How you doing today? I'm going to roll down nice and slowly again, taking a breath or so to root myself into the center of the earth, root myself into the center of the sky, getting that nice long and strong sensation through the core. And I'm going to roll down nice and slow, just checking in with the spine on the way down, noticing where it's supple, where it's sticky, where it's stiff, where it's unhappy and where it's happy and talking to me. Coming all the way down past the waist to the hips and just hanging here. Try not to lock the knees, bending the knees if that feels good. Put the hands on the floor, maybe playing with that a little bit. Just bend the knees, put hands on the floor, and then pressing up through the feet and just relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. Hanging here in a forward fold. Let's twist over to the left just gently, and then twist over to the right gently, and back to center. And then I'm going to roll back up. Oh, I got some stiffness in the back today. Rolling up. Let's lift the arms and chest and eyes. Adding a little counter stretch there. And then I'm going to swan dive down, this time with a relatively flat back again. Making sure not to lock the knees. Coming on down past the hips toward the floor. Relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. I'm going to bend the knees, swinging the arms around. Lifting the arms and chest again. Pushing the hips forward. And just enjoying that counter stretch. Let's swan dive forward again with the relatively flat back. Not locking the knees. Coming on down. Toward the floor. I'm going to pull up from the waist now, pulling up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen, rounding the spine, left elbow over right to start, pulling those shoulder blades apart. Feels good to me. Just giving those shoulders a little squeeze, maybe the neck a squeeze, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, and just enjoying that rounded spine sensation. And then releasing all that again from the hips. Taking it nice and slow today as I got a lot of stiffness in that low back. Just letting gravity do some unwinding. And then pulling up again, this time right elbow over left, pushing from the bottoms of the feet, the core of the earth. Pulling up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin, pulling these shoulder blades apart. Just rounding the spine, giving myself a nice hug. And then releasing all that again from the hips. Just hanging here for a breath or so, letting gravity do some unwinding. And then I bring right hand to left foot and lift that left arm, adding a little spinal twist, gazing up past the left fingertips. And then bringing that back down, coming to center, bringing left hand to right foot or leg and bringing that right arm up for another spinal twist. Wringing out those internal organs, gazing up past those right fingertips, using my left hand on right foot or leg for torque and support. And then coming back down to center, gazing behind the body, and then I'm going to roll up again, pushing from the bottoms of the feet, tipping the tailbone, and just checking in with the spine, one vertebra at a time. Let's lift the arms and chest again. Just enjoying that counter stretch. Shake that out a little bit. Shake it to the left. Shake it to the right. Shake it all about. Give it a little shake. I'm going to step back with the left foot into another moderate lunge. Pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back, tucking the tailbone under a little bit, Checking that the front knee is not crunching past the front toes. Pushing into that back heel. Looking for relatively parallel lines with the feet and a relatively perpendicular line with the hips here. Just enjoying that strong sensation for a breath or so. And I'm going to slide that back foot out on the toe, coming down into a deeper lunge. Enjoying that for a breath or so. I like to add a little bounce to my lunges. Some people don't like to add the bounce. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. I'm going to straighten that front leg and draping the upper body over the lower body. Just enjoying a forward fold over that front leg. Trying again to relax the belly, pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back. And then bringing weight onto both hands. I'm going to bring that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. And pressing into the heels. Almost just knocked my flowers over. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? I have to fix that in a sec. Pressing into those heels. Let's tread the heels. Bending the right knee, pressing into the left. And in the left, pressing into the right. And again, pressing into the left. And pressing into the right. And pressing into both heels. And swing the body forward, lifting the eyes and chest and shoulders. Keeping the hands under the shoulders. Keeping the legs together. Lifting the eyes. You can stretch the tongue there if you want. And just letting the belly drop and relax. Keeping the legs together. Just stretching through the front of the body. I like to take a couple breaths here and just intentionally relax the belly. Let the belly sag. Really get a nice stretch. Pushing up through the chest. And then lifting those hips. Pressing again through the palms, through the spine. Tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. Pressing into those heels. I'm going to swing that left foot forward into a nice deep lunge. And then stepping forward with the back foot and hanging here in a forward fold. Again, just letting gravity do the unwinding. Just relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. Feeling a little release in that stiff low back. That feels good. I'm going to push again from the bottoms of the feet. Tipping the tailbone and rolling up nice and slow. In the spine, shake that out a bit. I'm going to make sure these things don't go falling. Got some pretty flowers here for myself. Put those back up here. I think since these things tried to fall down, I'm going to enjoy some of my Lift Me Up blend. You can find this on Etsy. I make it myself. My company's name, Sleeping Dragons Company. My official sponsor is me. It is just a great, rapid, uplifting experience to inhale some bright and sunny essential oils. My Up blend is a blend of mostly citrusy. There's some rose geranium in there. It does just lift the vibration, the spirit, and sometimes clear the sinuses as well. I'm going to step back with the right foot now into another moderate lunge. Still looking for that perpendicular line with the hips, parallel lines with the feet. Pushing into that back heel. Checking that the front knee is not crunching past the front toes. Pulling the front hip back and the back hip forward. Tucking the tailbone under a bit. And just enjoying that nice and long, strong line through the core. Feeling a little better in the low back there. That is a pleasure to feel and to say. I'm going to lift the arms up a little bit, checking that I'm not crunching in those shoulders. Just enjoying that long, strong sensation through the core. And then sliding that back foot out. I'm going to bring the hands down on either side of this front leg. Sliding that back foot down onto the toes, coming into a deeper lunge. Putting my hands on either side of that front leg and just enjoying that nice deep lunge for a breath or so. And then I'm going to straighten that front leg, still pulling the pelvis into that perpendicular line. So drawing the front hip backwards a little bit and the back hip forwards a little bit. And pressing into that back heel, draping the upper body over the lower body on that front leg. Just enjoying that release for a breath or so. And then I'm going to bring weight onto the hands and bring that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing again through the palms, through the spine. Tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. And pressing into the heels. I'm going to bring weight onto the right and bring this left foot directly up, keeping that hip closed, so facing the ground. Got dome up here, so I won't be able to get too crazy enough, but I'm then going to open that hip, lifting that toward the ceiling, just enjoying a little more stretch, pushing through the palms still, through the spine. I like to look over my right shoulder to see confirmation of toes. We have toe confirmation. I'm going to check in on my rotation capability, which is always a challenge at that diagonal angle for me. And then closing the hip again, pressing again through the palms, up into that leg, and bringing that down. Pressing into both heels for a breath or so. And then bringing weight onto the left and lifting that right leg. Again, keeping the hip down toward the ground and pressing up into that leg. And then opening the hip, letting that leg fall and looking for toe confirmation over the left shoulder. Checking on rotation capability. It's there moderately, and then closing that hip again, pressing into that leg, pressing the heart toward the earth, pressing through the palms, through the spine, up out that heel or toes actually, and then bringing that leg down, pressing into both heels again, and I'm going to swing the body forward. My shirt went somewhere, I don't know where. Dropping the belly. Keeping those legs together, lifting the chest and the eyes, just relaxing the belly, and then I'm going to lift the chest again, the hips again, pressing the chest down, heart toward the center of the earth, pressing into those heels, and I'm going to step forward with that right foot. See if I can get my shirt to come back in line. Enjoying a nice deep lunge on that side. And then stepping forward with the back foot. Again, hanging in forward fold. Just releasing the spine, releasing the head and neck. Releasing the arms, just letting things hang off that hip. Off the pelvis. You got a big bony framework here, getting that whole spine off of. And then pushing from the bottoms of the feet, from the center of the earth. Again, tipping the tailbone, rolling up. Just checking in with the spine. Let's shake all that out. Again, shake it to the left. Shake it to the right. I'm going to do a little Qigong breathing. That feels in order. So I like to breathe in, circle up top, and then step into the left. Just blow the breath out to the back, and then stepping forward, circling. to the right. I'm going to do a few rounds of that, just noticing how the energy feels in the body. There's not one way. I encourage you to explore that, see what feels good to you. Maybe try something that doesn't feel quite natural and see if it becomes more natural. Or try the things that feel natural, and when you're paying attention to them, see if they don't start to feel a little less natural. Can add another circle up there. Getting teetery. I'm going to come back to center and just bring my awareness into the bottoms of the feet. I encourage you to notice day to day how your body ebbs and flows, how the energy changes, just like the energy changes in the world and in everything else. You know, your energy is changing in your body as well. I think it's important to be a little mindful of that and appreciate that, accept that, love that even, perhaps. I hope, whether you're loving that or not, that you're remembering to love yourself, love your body, getting to know yourself, exploring ways to love yourself and what feels good in your body, what feels like it needs a little more attention. I'm going to get on with it. I thank you for joining me. Rama, it's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Be good to yourself. Ciao for now.